Hey everyone, this is AO with One West Magazine in Los Angeles, California, January 18, 2006. I am here with Eric Cre8 Walker. He is a graffiti artist of LA, and thank you for having us with One West Magazine, Cre8.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I go by the name of Cre8. Born and raised here in Los Angeles, California, out of South Central to be exact, South Central Los Angeles. Yeah, I was born and raised here. Been doing the art form ever since I was 9 years old, back in 1982.
Cool. So, since 1982, you've been doing graffiti art, and can you tell us like your inspiration behind the artist?
Well, I'll say this. 1982, at the age of 9 years old, there wasn't really no graffiti art around in LA, really. It was a lot of gang writing. And I was influenced off of gang writing before I was influenced off of the New York type style of subway art or style writing. I was born in the early 70s, but I'm a product of the 80s. So I was able to see the transitions from looking at the gang writing on the wall to when hip hop first came to LA, hip hop culture, or when we first started to adapt to the New York culture of hip hop. That's when I started to see, like, the movie Breaking, the movie Beef Street, and other little small documentaries that came out here and there that showcased and featured the art. That being said, the transition from looking at gang writing on the wall to the New York type style of subway art was a very different contrast. And so that's what I gravitated toward mostly when I was a kid growing up. Because when you look at gang writing on the wall from back then, it was mostly one color artwork on the wall or one color writing. Mostly dark, like black, red, blue, green, like a dark gray or whatever, white on the wall. And then it wasn't really nothing that was super detailed out back then. But it was creative, but it wasn't really detailed out. When we start seeing the New York influence of the style writing or subway type art, you had colorful letters, more intricate interlocking letters, connections. So that was very powerful for me as a young kid to see that and be influenced from it. Mind you, back in those time periods, a lot of stuff was a lot of creative, typography and fonts. So as a kid growing up, we watching Schoolhouse Rock on TV early in the morning for cartoons. You see those simple style letters. Album covers back in those days was artistic because, see, when you look at album covers from back in those times, they hired a lot of artists to do the illustration for the record covers, and they would do the typography that was very stylized. And so I was one of those kids that really, for some reason, I took notice to that.
Okay.
Yep.
So how did people perceive your work? Did they praise it, or did you get in trouble? Did the law enforcement back in those days, hackle you about, your work?
Okay, let's say as an example, as a kid, before I started doing graffiti art or style writing, as a kid, at the age of 5 is when I started doing artwork. The only reason why I was really heavy into being constructive was because my mom never allowed me and my sister to just sit around and watch TV all day. My mom was the type of parent where she would let us watch cartoons and TV for a little while, but she would always say, be constructive with your time and be careful of what you do. Or do something creative, like I say, with your time. So in that point of my life, my mom would buy us like arts and craft material. She would buy us coloring books, I remember. And she would buy us stuff to keep our mind creative. When I was a kid in school, I remember the teachers would be, they would have a lot of students to help work on projects. For some reason, I was one of those students that they I was one of them. I wasn't the only one, but I was one of them that whenever they needed something done, they would come to me and a few other people and we would do like the school banners. We would do like the posters that they would hang up in the hallway, and that was part of that creative process back then. That was the early 80s.
Do you have like a most prized piece of work that you did at that time?
At that time, nah, but I do remember when my teachers used to give me a lot of credit, and they would, when they give recognition for art back then, I was, for some reason, one of those students that got a lot of credit for that. Now, as a kid growing up, when you get credit for that kind of stuff, and you really intelligent, you start to take notice to that. And I started to take notice to everybody start recognizing me for what I could do. I realized that was my power and strength, but not fully. But I saw that people gave me attention based upon my abilities to be creative.
And I see you talk a lot about hip-hop, and how does your work with graffiti art intertwine with the hip-hop culture?
Good question. The work that we do, style writing, or what people call graffiti art, is part of hip-hop culture. Because hip-hop is not only rap. Hip-hop is MCing. The real term is, we call it MCing. DJing. Where we do, people call it graffiti art, we call it style writing. Then you got the breaking, or we call it b-boying, or b-girl. Then we got beatboxing. So you got all that. So all those are the different elements, partially, of hip-hop culture. The aerosol art or the graffiti art ties in because it's the spoken language, or it's the written language. Actually, yes, the written language of our subculture of hip-hop. Hip-hop culture embraces all those elements I just named, and it comes from our ancestors. So when you see people standing in that circle, in the tribal circles, dancing, doing capoeira dancing, or their cultural dancing, it actually reflects what our ancestors was doing back then when they was standing in circles with a lot of people beating on the drum. They was dancing. Mm-hmm. So that's part of where our b-boying come from slightly. People like James Brown, when they was on stage, was doing splits and doing moves. They was feeling the music, and it was part of the soul and part of that line of where we came from our way back. As far as the graffiti art, that's not nothing new. Our ancestors were writing on the wall on not just ancient Kemet or Egypt. Our ancestors was writing all over. When the first man and woman was on the planet, people left a mark around wherever they was, whether it was on the ground, in the tree, on the dirt, carved it in the stone. They wanted people to know that they existed and they was there.
Right.
We just became more creative with it.
Gotcha. So, I know as a speaker and writer for myself, I look up to someone. Is there anyone that you look up to and that you have gauged your writings towards?
As far as artists, I say this. Most people that's really into the culture or the the graffiti art or the right movement, nobody can't deny that the New York subway system writing culture did not, nobody can deny that it didn't cause an impact globally. Mm-hmm. It was because we saw the movie Wild Style and Style Wars and B Street that we saw what it was like to see the first color, what we call burners on the train. If we never saw stuff like that, I ain't saying we wouldn't have never did it. But New York kicked it off, I would say, real strong. New York kicked it. It wasn't even no doubt about it. New York is what they call the Mecca, or where it come from in terms of that kind of introduction to it. Mm-hmm. Who do I look up to in the culture? I look up to a lot of people in this graffiti art movement. I look up to a lot of the forefathers from New York that laid down the blueprint. There's so many of them to name, but some of the people that stick out in my mind is some of my affiliates that I run with. Some of my partners from TMT Crew, which stand for the Magnificent Team. Chain 3, Scheme, Cade, people like that. Case 2, rest in peace. Riff 170, Phase 2. It's a lot of writers from back then that really laid down the blueprint. It's more. But as an example, in Los Angeles, we got writers here in LA that was totally different from writers in New York that created a signature thumbprint to what they do as far as style. In Los Angeles, one of my inspirations is Green, my partner named Green. Green, I would consider him to be a style master with lettering and doing visuals of these characters. Green is very underrated, but he's one of those people that I looked up to because he has style. My partner Clever, rest in peace, he was a very big influence to a lot of people on the south side of LA or South Central Los Angeles because he was like considered a king at an early age, and he was ahead of his time with doing super intense, high-powered, colorful masterpieces on the wall. So you had people like Clever. And then you had people like Soon that came from New York that stayed in LA at an early age. And he was ahead of his time because he came from where it was starting from. But he brought that flavor to Los Angeles back in '82. And he made a serious contribution on the wall. He showed people... I say this, Soon set the standard. He was one of those people. He set the standard for quality. When we was in LA doing mediocre type stuff on the wall, we saw stuff that he did that was way ahead of his time. It was way ahead of his time. Who else I would give props to? So many different people. In Los Angeles, we got to understand that it's divided up into many different sectors. Like, you got South Central Los Angeles, where I'm from. You got East LA. You got writers over there. Then you got the West LA area. You got writers over there. And then you got other writers up in the Hollywood area. So when you look at the dynamics of Los Angeles graffiti art movement, you're looking at different parts of the city where each different side of town has a certain type of flavor. Not to say that they had to stick with that flavor, but it was just, you could tell when you go to East LA, it was a certain look to the graffiti art. When you go to South Central, it was a certain look to the graffiti art. When you went to the West Side, it was a certain look to the writing over there. Then when you was up in the Hollywood area, it was another look to their style.
So what style did you?
I actually gravitated from all styles from all around.
Uh-huh.
That's what made me a very powerful graffiti artist or writer. Because I was able to study New York style. I was able to study the dynamics of my people here in Los Angeles where, see, coming up as a young graffiti artist, we was told, or I was taught, to be more specific, I was taught to not just stay in your local area, to get around and cover all territories. By doing that, it allowed me to be more open-minded, to venture out and see what other artists was doing. By me doing that, I was like, oh, okay, man, they doing this over here. Now, number one rule is never to bite or copy. That's what biting means, not to copy. So the number one rule, so if we see people doing something like maybe somebody on one side of town was doing this special kind of fill-in. And you know, each artist is always influenced off of other people's work, but never copy it exactly like how you see it. So if I see somebody doing this, maybe I might say, damn, well, that's fresh, but what else can I do to make it different? Maybe what I might do is put more of a twist to it. You know, I might not copy the letter exactly like this. Maybe instead of making it go this way, I might make it curve the other way. Maybe I might make an arrow pop off the back of it. Maybe it might be, instead of straight edges, it might be round edges. So we had to learn the rules to what would make you what we call being fresh or being better. Competition, this is the art form which is the sport of competition, directly and indirectly, where to me it's competitive. Whenever I paint something, I don't paint just to paint. I paint to make people's heads turn. I paint to make people's mouth drop to the floor and say, damn, that shit is fresh. That's how I paint.
Okay.
Anything that I do, I give it my best at all times.
So let's just talk about Los Angeles. What have you done for the community as far as your work? How have you given back?
I've given back to my communities in many different ways. Let's start off by saying, number one, somehow I first started giving back real heavy after the riots in 1992. The Rodney King riots, or the civil unrest. I was part of an organization or some type of project called, I forgot the name. Anyway, it was right after the riots, actually. And I was one of the people who helped to clean up Los Angeles and slightly, when I say clean up, not physically going out and clean up with a broom, I cleaned up with artwork. So everywhere that it was vandalized, I went out there and painted pretty pictures, or I painted pictures that made a statement. This is what transformed the communities mentally and spiritually through the art. So that's one way I gave back, was through my art, doing murals on the wall. I've also given back at that time in the 90s, and I'm saying the 90s for a reason, because that was my transformation from being a selfish type graffiti artist where everything was me, out there in the streets. By the time we became older, we started to realize it wasn't just about me. It was about giving back to where you come from. You could either be, how can I put it? We could either, or I could take away from the people, or I could give back. You got to figure out which one you want to do, which way you want to be. I took away by destroying it slightly. I wasn't like that bad of a person out there taking away. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, I took away people tax dollars because they had to clean up the buses, because I wrote my name all over the city property and the buses out there. I paid my dues on that level. But that's what all graffiti artists did back there in Los Angeles. Most of us. That was the way we got up. But, so, to counteract that, I started giving back to the communities by teaching kids. I never knew I was going to become a teacher. Somehow, an art teacher. I never knew I would fall into the lane of doing something like that. That was far from my mind. I just wanted to do my art. But somehow, patience became something within me to where I remember a few people had patience teaching me. And I know what it's like when you got that burning desire deep down inside and you want to learn something and nobody wanted to show you. So you got to learn for yourself. So I took it upon myself to say, you know what? If there's somebody else who want to learn how to become good, I'm going to teach them and show them the ropes. I might not show them everything, because you can't show all your goodies and your tricks to the people, because then you're going to have competition on your hand. You know. But you only show your students just enough to give them that push so that they could start to find themselves and find where they're going in whichever lane they're taking in life.
So have you collaborated with any known artists that people today might know in the hip-hop world?
I've collaborated with artists on many levels. Now, when we say artists, we could be talking about graffiti artists. I've collaborated with some high-powered graffiti artists such as Mode 2 from, I think, Paris, France. Yeah, Paris, France or something like that. I think that's where he's from. I collaborated with Mode 2 on some stuff in projects. Or sitting on panels with high-end graffiti artists. I had the chance to be amongst Cre8 before he passed away. Not painting with him, but just sitting with him side by side, and that was an honor, you know, being amongst people like Phase 2, Days, Ernie, who else? Shirt King Fade, he's out here in LA now. He's the legend. Scheme, Chain 3K, you know, all these people, man, like, I never knew. These are people I looked and seen from New York. So I never thought as a kid all the people I looked up to in the Subway art book, or spray can art, I never knew in my life that I would be chilling with these people.
Yeah.
Talking with them face to face, not like, oh, give me an autograph, but just like
your peers, your colleagues.
Yeah, man, it's so trippy. Like how me and you talk right now. I was like just sitting there building with them naturally, like we've been knowing each other for life. It felt good to do that. When I was able to cross them boundaries to do that, that let me know I achieved a certain status in my career as I do as an artist.
Okay, so when you say that, do you consider yourself a legend of Los Angeles, California? Or are you still trying to, take it to the next level?
I think well, I don't think I am. I know I'm a legend in a humble way. I say that. I know I'm a legend because I come from what they call the hood in South Central, and I guarantee you, it's not that many black graffiti artists that exist today coming from there that knows the history of South Central. Not the city history, but South Central history. They couldn't really tell you too much about a lot of the different things that took place back then. I'm one of those people that could tell that story. I might not could tell it 100%, but I could sure damn give a person 80% of a good story of LA graffiti from South Central. And that's a good percentage right there. As far as rap artists in the hip hop culture, I've been on stage with KRS-One many a time when he performed and did live shows. I was on stage doing live painting. Dilated Peoples, those are my people, Rocker. You know what I'm saying? Akil and Jurassic 5 group, those are my people. Charlie Tuna. Did some stuff for Ice-T, and not really, but nothing really took off so major with that, but some of his people as well. Who else can I say? Right now, Overton Lloyd, he's the artist who did a lot of stuff for George Clinton or Parliament. He's having a show out here in LA, March or April, one of them. I think March.
So you're currently doing work with him?
Not with him per se, but in honor to Parliament, we're doing an art show in Hollywood where it's going to be featuring me and some other artists in the show, paying tribute to Parliament.
So for for your fans out there that want to see your work, where can they see it out in the world? Is it just in Los Angeles, or do you have work in different states?
Well, I have traveled to different states and did work. I don't think it's there no more though. I've been to San Antonio and did work twice. That was an honor. They had me go speak out there, and I did some painting twice. I did work in Miami. I had a good time out there. I like Miami. I don't like the gloomy weather. I like the sunny beaches with the white sand and the blue waters. I like the scenery. I like the eye candy out there. That was nice. Man, Miami was interesting. Okay, I've been to El Paso, Texas. Did some artwork out there. That was a interesting trip. Where else I did work at? Cleveland, Ohio, twice. Went out there and painted.
Nice.
Was out there. I would like to go to Japan. I would like to go to Europe to go paint. I haven't been there yet, so I'm working on that. I had a chance to go to Dubai last year. Damn.
You went to Dubai?
I had a chance to go.
Nice.
But I had issues.
Oh, you didn't go?
Yeah, I didn't go.
Oh, okay.
I had stuff taking place in LA that kept me back, so I had to stay here for a while.
Well, we gotta get you in Dubai somehow.
Oh,
working.
Man. That was a trip where they was paying for the flight, my stay.
And you didn't go?
Couldn't go.
Oh, man.
Couldn't go, man. They paid for everything. Damn. And we didn't have to worry about nothing but just go and have fun and paint. Couldn't go.
Well, there's going to be another opportunity. I know that for sure.
Yeah, man. I want to go to Art Basel in Miami. I'm gonna definitely go there one day. The only reason why I want to go there is because I want to see what a lot of people is doing around the world. And I say around the world because people travel out to Miami for that. It's a big art event. You heard of that before?
No, I haven't.
Okay, it's a major event. That's where a lot of artists go every year. I hope I'm not on the late freight though when people stop going. What else? I'm in the Getty Museum. That's an honor to be there.
And where's the Getty Museum located?
That's off the 405 freeway northwest.
It's in Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in between Hollywood and in between the Valley. Sherman Oaks. In between. It's not in Sherman Oaks, but it's in between like West LA and the Valley area.
Is there let's say someone comes out to South Central, is there any work of yours original that they can view, take pictures of?
Yep. There's actually two places. We have the world famous Crenshaw Wall located on Crenshaw Boulevard between 48th Street and 54th Street. It's a big, huge wall. It's long. It's on the west side of the street if you're going southbound, and it's the opposite if you're going northbound. And you can't miss it. It's a Black History mural that we're doing. Well, actually, we already did the wall back in 2000. We're about to redo the wall. This year, next month, in February, we're about to do the wall. We got 2 months to complete this big, huge wall. Mm-hmm. It took us a whole year to do it the first time because we was funding ourselves and using our own materials, and we would come whenever we all had time to come. And it was a very interesting thing, man. By doing this wall right here, made the people in the community, like, they went crazy when they seen that wall. And when I say they went crazy in a good way. We have so much respect from doing this wall where people shot pictures in front of this wall. This wall has been in many documentaries, videos, book covers, everything.
How many other writers did it take?
It was about a total of maybe 12 of us.
12 of you guys.
12 to 15 of us. Mostly Black graffiti artists, but we did have our Chicano brothers in there as well to give us a helping hand, and they help us to pull off some things as well too. This wall tells our history from the beginning of time to what we perceive to think would be the future.
Okay.
Where else is some of my work could be found? We did work at the California African American Museum, which was another very powerful contribution in history, where we did a piece in the museum. The museum challenged us to not use spray paint on the inside of the museum. They said, "Oh, don't use spray paint. We can only use paintbrush." I was one of those people to help to construct teams of artists. So this is my team: me, my partner Sano, my partner Ace, and my partner Gnu Roxwell. So what we did was I came up with this concept called the Supreme Kings. How did I come up with the title? Basically, whenever I do anything in the public or a museum, a prestigious museum, I want to be powerful in the statement I'm making, not just with words, but with visuals as well, as a combination coming together. And so when I created this concept, because, you know, I had other artists that's strong in many different areas of what they do. So what I did was I orchestrated a strong, powerful team of people to produce this mural. The title, Supreme Kings, basically come to have a knowledge of self. I knew that where we come from as a people, we come from, a lot of people think we were just slaves when the world just started off and we was just running around with bones in our nose, and we lived in the safaris running around with no type of knowledge of self, and that's our beginnings. Little do most of the people know that if they really check the files in history, we come from a line of kings and queens, and we built civilization. So by having knowledge of self, knowing we built civilization, we come from Supreme King, top of the line. So I wanted to show people that this is where we come from. Our weapons of choice was not weapons of destruction, but weapons of creativity. So you see the bow and arrow becomes a paintbrush. So he got little tiny paintbrushes in his hands, so when he busts out one, he shoots another one. Bam! He put the shadow on the wall. That's paintbrush. The Ethiopian priest, he got the spray can because he's saying something. Bam! He's speaking with his hand. And then he got the roller, which is a new modern tool that a lot of graffiti artists use to work with sometimes. That's not our main tool. Our main tool is the spray can. But we put the roller in his hand because we use that to what we call buff out the area of solid color. So that's why we put the roller in his hand. Now, if you look farther over here, you see two hands raising up the new generation, which is the new generation that we teaching and we bringing up. And the little kid got his hat on back because he want to be cool. He's like a toddler, and he's holding a can, and he's spraying out what we consider to be that light purple, which is called the force field. Okay. The force field is the trim, the outer trim around the letters to separate it from the background. So the little toddler dude, the little youngster, the new breed he's doing something totally different from the forefathers over here.
Okay. Then can we use this picture to feature in the magazine as well?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
There's another piece we did at the Esmoa Museum, another prestigious museum over in the city of El Segundo. That piece is called Sign of the Times. I came up with that concept. Which I don't have that on here. It's called Signs of the Times. Signs of the Times was a concept because once again, I knew that we was gonna be inside of a place where we was gonna have a variety of different cultures coming through, many different ages of people. What better place can we tell a story visually to people, because people, the first impression is always the last impression, and I understand that a picture tells 1,000 words. So when I came up with that idea, I said to myself, you know what? I don't want to just do any old mediocre type artwork on this wall. Once again, when people come in there, I want their heads to turn. I want that piece to be the piece that's is a memorable piece that stick out in their mind. So when we did that piece, man, that piece was the talk of the town.
Mm-hmm. And that can be found where? In El Segundo?
It's not there no more.
Okay.
Let me see something. Right. Let's see. Maybe I might find it. Let's see. Oh, here it is. It was at the El Segundo Museum of Art. That piece was 24 feet tall by 27 feet wide.
Oh, that's pretty big.
We did it in 2 weeks.
And how many artists did it take for that?
How long? I mean, how many artists was it? It was about 12 of us.
Oh, wow.
In this
That's
piece,
really nice.
what I wanted to do was construct my elite top of the line partners. That's some of the best artists. And the reason why I picked the title Sign of the Times, notice every time I come with a theme, I'm trying to come with something powerful. So I said, okay, Sign of the Times. Because most of the time when we do graffiti art shows, a lot of people, they stray away from, they're ashamed of like doing what we are originally about, which is the art form of lettering. I try not to stray away from it because I want people to appreciate the dynamics of the letter and the creativity of doing fonts and letters and stuff like that. And so that was one of the things that I emphasized on, was right in the middle, I want them to see the word Sign of the Times, because that gives a two-way meaning.
Mm-hmm.
At the very top in the crescent, you see a marker, which is the tool that we use to write. You see the spray can, another tool. Then you see the roller again, which is a new modern thing that people use a lot. Also, you see the culture. You see black culture and brown culture. You see the ancient hieroglyphics of our ancestors from ancient Kemet, which they call Egypt today. Then you see the Mayan and the Aztec hieroglyphics on the wall as well.
Mm-hmm. On
the left side of the mirror, which was black culture. The right side of the mirror was Chicano brown culture. And you see how we actually had a lot of things in common.
Mm-hmm.
And in the middle, you see the two brothers coming together, putting their fists together with the electricity and the power and the force underneath the Sphinx.
It's very powerful.
And it said, "United we stand."
Very
we got
powerful.
the serpents on both sides. We got the beautiful ladies right there. And we got the hieroglyphics. And my partner did all the fixtures and the trimming. Bam. And we got the hazy mist coming up.
So with this piece, did you guys like come in camaraderie? You know, did you guys like actually sit down and talk about it and discuss how, you know, you guys are here at this museum, but then how it differs in the communities and how you guys want to come together?
Mm-hmm.
Like, did you guys have a discussion of that as well?
Actually, nah. I actually came up with the whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I delegated tasks to each one of my strong elite artists that I picked.
Okay.
Like, my partner Ink did this black lady right here. He's very good at doing photorealism with people. My partner, my Chicano homie name is Hurt. He's good at doing real good portraits too, so I picked him to do the Chicano lady and so forth.
Okay.
And all these different people. Same thing with the Supreme King mural. Oh, wait a minute. We did another show in 2010. Here it is. 2010. We did a show at this place called 33 and the 3rd, a paint supply store and a gallery.
Mm-hmm.
We did an all-black graffiti art show called Urban Hieroglyphics. That's the show we did. In this show, we featured artists from not only just LA, but from the Bay Area, maybe a few from different cities and states from other places. Oh man, that show was powerful right there. Man, we went all out. We went to the, and we was allowed to paint this big mural in the back of the building. We got the Pharaoh right there in the back, right? He's looking real powerful. He got that look on his face. His eyes is glowing with the green. And you see all of, he got the 2 cans in his hand. He's squeezing them, he pressing them.
Nice.
And floating all through them like jewelry. You see our names floating. You see like the Egyptian cat, the bird, the other symbols and stuff. You see the columns in the back with the pyramids in the distance. We letting people know like we here to make a statement.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why we do these shows is because there's not that many black graffiti artists left. So we have to pay homage to people who really actually presented a certain flavor and look to the dynamics of what we do. A lot of people say, well, what do color have to do with art? It don't, but you got black art, you got Indian, Southwest Indian art or native art, European type style art, Japanese art. You got all around the world that signifies where people, through people cultures, they share their experience through their art, through their music, through their fashion. So that's why we do through our art. So it's mandatory that we show what we do through our art. And that's how we tell our story, and people know that, oh, okay, these dudes is powerful. This is my partner right here. His name is, I grew up with him. I met him in the 7th grade. He was just out here last year. His name is Skier. He's the one that showed me and introduced me to a lot of powerful things involved with hip-hop culture.
Mm-hmm.
My crew name is Rockin' the Nation, RTN. We did another production last year, which still exists, near Manchester and Broadway. We did this piece. We wanted to be unique and different. So we said, what can we do instead of just putting Rockin' the Nation on the wall, RTN? We came up with Rough, Tough Ninjas.
Mm-hmm.
So we used the panda bear for our theme. So I did the panda over here. We did the bamboo sticks. We did our letters in silver. We try to use Asian type style colors, so the silvers and the greens and the reds and stuff.
You said where was this located again?
That's on Broadway in Manchester. Okay. It's in the alleyway. We had permission to do it. So we did our crew, but we made it say Rough, Tough Ninjas.
So as far as like, you can't just go out there spray painting the walls, right? You have to get permission.
But there's some consequences, but we don't do that. Yeah.
I mean,
most of my people, we since we older, we try not to be out there running reckless, just writing on people's walls. I definitely don't do it. I have a student that I mentored. I'm very proud of him. Mm-hmm. He came a long way, and that's a piece that I actually got to go back and finish.
Okay.
You might be able to go when I go back to go finish. I just gotta take care of that area right there.
Mm-hmm.
I might be able to snap pictures of me over there.
Okay, we definitely do that.
Yeah, I did that last year in the summertime.
And where's this piece located?
I'm glad you asked that question. That's over on Slauson, the world famous Slauson train tracks, which is my group yard, which is Rockin' the Nation. Okay. And that's we got that wall space after the riot. The day after the riot is when we got that yard or that wall. And the owner been cool with us ever since. Mm-hmm. So we got permission to go and paint.
So you've been in Los Angeles for
since the day of birth,
all your life, right?
Yep.
And we see a lot of the gangs and the riots you were just talking about. How has that molded you into the man you are today?
That's a good question. Well, let's see. Gang culture in the late 70s, early 80s was very crucial. It was more crucial than gangs today, I think, me personally. Gang violence, for some reason back then, everybody was making a statement. To be honest with you, gangs didn't start off as a bad thing in LA. It was more of to protect your areas and your community and help the community. We was protecting, from my studies, or what I researched, was that there was a white gang, because there was a lot of white people in South Central LA back in the day. Back in, I don't want to get the years wrong, but back in the day. Black people was more further east, but we started to come more further this way. So it was a gang called the Spooks, which was a white gang of teenagers. The Spooks, from my understanding through my studies. So the Spooks used to try to keep the blacks out of the area or the neighborhood through their public schools over here. So the black people started to form little cliques and gangs, and we was counteracting that. Bloods and Crips stuff started coming a little bit later. Not the Bloods and Crips of what we know today. It's a little different. Back then, Bloods and Crips was more unified, different. It wasn't until something took place. It's a lot of studies in that. But how did it transform me? I get too technical into the gang culture. But what I will say is this. Gang culture in LA kept you on your toes in the early age. Growing up in the hood of South Central, man, gang culture, black gang, Mexican gang, it kept you on your toes. How did it keep us on our toes? Number one, you always had to stay alert. You had to watch your surroundings. You couldn't just walk around so carelessly. Yeah, you couldn't. Any wrong move you make, they sweating you tough. Just being a youngster, I remember, I close my eyes and I picture this stuff in my head. I remember growing up as a youngster, if you wore just a little bit of red, you could have had just a little red stripe on your shirt. Going through a Crip area, they'd be like, hey, come here, what you got that red in your shirt for? Like, man, I didn't buy this, my mom bought it. Yeah, take that off. Take your shirt off and walk through it. Sometimes they was petty like that. You know what I'm saying? Not all the time, sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it wasn't nothing you could do about the little stuff like that. Vice versa, if you was coming through a blood neighborhood, you couldn't have a little bit of blue on. Baby blue, dark blue, royal blue, any kind of blue, man. You had any form of blue on, you was getting sweated. You had on burgundy. See, back then, bloods wore red, burgundy, brown, and green. That's how you knew if you was a blood in LA. Mainly red. But if you had green, brown, red, and burgundy on, you was a blood. If you was a Crip, you would wear black. Well, I take that back, because in the jungles, they wear black. But if you was a Crip, you would wear dark blue, baby blue, true blue, gray. Pretty much, yeah, gray. Yeah, Crips wore gray most of the time, I remember. If you was a Cholo, you would wear dark blue, you would wear gray. You would wear black, you would wear gray. But most Mexican gangsters back then had a certain sophisticated look. Some of them, not all of them. Some of them would wear dress shirts with these real sophisticated brim hats. Well, no, I take the other black dudes. But the Mexican gangsters would wear a certain kind of... It was an older type hat. Mm-hmm. But the Mexican gangsters back then was very clean cut. They pants was creased up real good. They dressed almost like Zoot Suiters, almost, but it had a street look to it. They dress shirts was buttoned up to the top. They was clean. They wear Stacey Adams shoes. They dress shoes was polished up. And they was sharp.
Sounds like my grandpa.
Yeah, they was sharp, man. And I'm mentioning all that for a reason, because that had a lot to do with how we walk, how we talk. So when you see me, I'm a product of not coming from gang culture per se, but my mentality is a street mentality, but not in a bad way. More of a conscious street level.
You're just aware.
My awareness is street culture. So my survival tactics is more on some level of okay, you watch these people, man, most people who don't grow up like that, they're very naive a little bit to society. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody can get over on them. Those are the people that they say they consider them to be squares. Like, you know, people, man, is weird. They think people who don't do bad stuff are square. Anyway, that's a different subject.
No, I'm not a square.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Because people think I'm one. They be like, "Oh, you a square?" I'm like, "You crazy?" That's why I call them smoke or drink. They say, "Nah, cause you don't do that." I'm like, "Man, please." Like I've oh man.
So let's get back to your art, though.
Yeah, I got to the game coach.
So you're in the history books, correct? Like of Los Angeles.
I'm in documentaries, history documentaries, and books. Yeah.
Okay.
Graffiti Verite. That's how you can find me on some other part 1, 2, and 3. I'm in all 3 of those.
Graffiti who?
Graffiti Verite.
Verite.
Yeah. Verite. 1, 2, and 3.
And you can find that where online? Is that
graffitiverite.com.
Okay.
Yeah, film producer, award-winning film producer Bob Bryant. He's the producer. Bob Bryant documented LA graffiti art movement in the 90s, but he sort of captured some of the old school people from LA in the 80s. But his video has got major awards, Golden Apple Awards, Sign Awards. Those awards allows him to put his stuff in the libraries and institutions and schools. Mm-hmm. I'm part of that.
And the 2 books that we have in front of us, it's the history of Los Angeles graffiti art and graffiti art.
Yep.
And you're featured in these books, correct?
Both of them, yep. And I'm actually featured in the California mural book too. My name pops up in there.
Okay.
Yep.
How does that feel to be featured in a history book for Los Angeles art?
It's an honor, man, because I say it's an honor because 2 reasons. Because I feel like I deserve it. Not that you better give it to me. In a way, I do feel like that. In a way, I say it in a humble way. And the only reason why I say that is because I've been around since the beginning of the lost. Some people believe it, some people don't. But I know for a fact my history of where I come from. I've seen LA transform from when we didn't really have a lot of graffiti art at all. I saw the real hardcore gang graffiti on the wall all the way to what we do as masterpieces on the wall. Boom. But I come from the different era. That being said, when I see myself in these books, I feel like, damn, man, I came to a level of achievement to be able to earn my right to be in these books. Mm-hmm. I speak and represent for a lot of my, well, people say the big homies that didn't make it all the way. Mm-hmm. I didn't say they didn't make it like they died, but they didn't make it because they took a different route in their life. Some people just say, hey, I'm going to be a regular working man and I'm just going to have a 9 to 5, and graffiti was something for them to be doing at an early age in their life. Mm-hmm. Some people went to doing other things with their art. Some people became tattoo artists. Some people started doing airbrushing at once upon a time. Some people started to just do other things with their art. But I'm one of those that come from there that still stuck with it and carried the torch. So I definitely should be in these books because I'm the one that could tell the story for a lot of those people that didn't get a chance to make it to these books. Mm-hmm. So I'm a voice for those people. I'm a mighty voice. Yeah. And
what would you say to the young artists nowadays that are wanting to do what you do as far as graffiti art? How to keep them out of trouble, how to keep them focused and doing something productive with their skills.
What would I say to young people? Well, one thing I'm going to say off the top. If you're going to get involved with something, know what you're getting involved with. Don't be getting involved with the culture. A lot of kids at one point were jumping on what they call a bandwagon because it was a fad to them. I didn't like that group of people because they didn't represent our culture, our movement properly. Those people was a disgrace to our culture and our movement on the graffiti art level. Those people was the ones running around acting silly and goofy and just just acting reckless out there. They gave us a bad name, believe it or not. That's how everybody now be like, hey, that's a tagger, that's a tagger. We never called ourselves taggers back in the day.
Yeah, what's the difference between a tagger and a graffiti artist?
Well, we never even call ourselves graffiti artists. It's actually easy.
Okay.
We call ourselves writers.
Writers.
Breakdancers never call themselves breakdancers. We call ourselves b-boys.
B-boys, yes.
But the media said those are breakdancers. The media said those are graffiti artists. The media said those are taggers. Why? Because it was some ignorant, illiterate person that they filmed on camera. Graffiti artist or like it'd be a young silly kid that's silly and don't know no better. They say, well, what are you? He said, I'm a tagger. So when they hear him say that, he's a tagger.
So it's pretty much a stigmatism.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. You hit it right on the dot.
So what would you call yourself?
I'm a stylist. I'm a style writer. I'm a stylist, yep. A style writer, but I'm a stylist. Because I specialize in the art form of taking the letters, being creative. I'm an extension of calligraphy. I'm an extension of hieroglyphics. I'm an extension of script writing. I'm that extra addition to being creative with fonts from A through Z.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you notice, the people here in the interview, they can't see, but there's an E here, which is different from that E,
Mm-hmm.
which is different from that E.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So, just to be able to understand how to take a letter, how to bend them, how to twist them, how to shape them, how to dress it up on the inside, knowing the secret ingredients to add to the formula of how to put these pieces together is very special.
Yeah.
The average person with the untrained eye, when they look at that, they couldn't even read that. Well, what does that say? Because their eye would become distracted by the feeling, their eye would become distracted by what's around.
Mm-hmm.
To the trained reader, to the trained eye, we understand that this dark outline becomes the formation to the contour shape of the style of the letter.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is the ingredients, you know what I'm saying, to what we're doing when we build into it. It's like that's the structure of the building. And you got your window, you got your indoor interior furniture, and all that extra good stuff. Yep.
Okay.
That's pretty deep how I'm breaking it down.
Yeah, it's very technical from my eye because sometimes I look at the work and I'm looking for maybe 10 minutes and still trying to figure out what it says. So I totally get what you're saying there. I'm not a trained eye. But so do you have any upcoming galleries? You know, how can people find your work and if they want to buy?
There actually is a show that I'm working on immediately. It's gonna be an online show. I won't say the thing yet, but if people want to see my work specifically, they could go to King on Facebook. Go to Cre8. KINGCRE with the number 8. That's one where they could just see. Oh, and what's that, Instagram? And they go to Instagram, you know, and what's that?
What was that? Cre8 Artistic
Cre8
Services.
Artistic Services. There you go. They could go there.
Yeah, we just made that one.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. You know, they could go on there and as far as my services, I'm not just only I'm an art instructor. I'm a art counselor in such a way to where I give people advice. I give people counseling in terms of what they could do in their career as an artist. I tell people how to enhance their work and make it better. What else I do? I'm a graphic designer. I'm an illustrator. I'm a muralist. I'm trained in all fields of art, from doing portraits of people, cartooning, watercolor, charcoal, pen and ink, airbrushing. And you name it, I could do.
So, I mean, any artist that needs your services, you're sure to help then.
Pretty much, yeah. And if I can't do it, I got a team of elite artists on my team that can do it.
Definitely. Do you have an email that they can email you on?
Yeah, kingcreate@gmail.com. Yep.
Okay, and create is spelled?
CRE and the number 8.
The number 8, okay. Just make sure.
And how I got that name is 1986 or 87. I got the name from Big Cre8. I'm actually Lil Cre8. Big Cre8 was more of a person. He wasn't really as an artist per se. but he used to write his name on public transportation back in the early 80s. He was a well-known street writer that got his name up. He wrote with a very well-known graffiti writer back in the day called Mad, M-A-D. And Mad had a question mark at the end of his name with the quotation marks on both sides. Mad was one of those type of graffiti writers out there back in the day that he was doing the most. He wasn't the only one, but he was one of the ones that did the most from where we came from in South Central. But Mad, I would say, was one of the what we call all city. Now, to a lot of people, when we hear these terms, all city, like, well, what is that? That means a person who got up everywhere and his name was going all throughout the city. So Mad is the kind of graffiti writer back then that inspired me on all kind of levels. Okay, as an example, when Mad wrote his name on the bus, he didn't just write his name all little on the bus. This dude would, when you go to the bus, his name will be on the whole side of the window from the back to the front. Like a big giant M, a big giant A, and a big giant D on the window. And we would be like, damn, man, that dude is tough, man. How he do it? We know how he did it, but damn, he's bold.
Yeah.
Then he would go to the driver's side of the bus where everybody could see where the traffic is and write his name big on that side of the bus window. And he didn't have no shame in what he was doing. And he was like a superhero to us. It was like, man, that Mad is fresh. Mad is, he was cool. He wrote his name on the window real big. And on the inside of the bus, he would get on. No shame in his game. He'd get on the bus. On top of the ceiling, I kid you not, it'd be a big giant M-A-D on the whole ceiling of the inside of the bus.
He wanted everybody to know he was there.
He wanted everybody to know he was there. Also, on the windows on the inside of the bus, you know how they used to write, what you call it when you get in trouble? Standards? On each column of the window. Man. On each window, real tall.
Oh, man.
We was like, that nigga crazy. And to us, that was impressive, He set the standard for us to want to push the lines, to really be somebody in terms of letting people know who we are. I give a lot of shout outs to him. So he became King Mad. We never heard of the terminology in the graffiti world in LA to us at that time. And I always specify to us because maybe somebody else did hear about it. But for us, growing up where we came from, Mad was the first one to put the word King in front of his name, so he wrote King Mad. We was 13, 14 years old. We like, oh shit, that's fresh, King. So we wanted to be like Mad, so we said, I'm King Cre8. My boy put on King Ski. So we call ourselves kings at an early age, but we wasn't really kings yet. We was like little prince in the making. I didn't call myself a true king until later on when I became, I'm in my 40s, let's see. Probably my early 30s. I call myself, maybe, I might be wrong, late 20s, early 30s, I start calling myself King Cre8. A lot of people say, well, man, you can't become a self-proclaimed king. You right, yeah, they right. Sort of you can. But I call myself a king because, number one, I paid my dues. I wrote on, I ain't proud of it, but I'm not ashamed of it. Yeah, I rode on public transportation. I got up. I wrote my name throughout. My name was on the buses. My name was on the city streets. So people that really knew I wasn't a hardcore graffiti writer in terms of writing my name that much, but I did make my mark out there on the streets. The only reason I broke away from just writing my name on the street a lot was because at one point I wanted to get respect from the big dogs out there, the people that was in the major league with it. And they didn't really care about that too much. They looked at that like, that's cool, but can you do one of these? You know what I'm saying? And if I couldn't do one, not a canvas, but the wall. If I couldn't do a wall like that, then it didn't matter about me writing my name like that on the transportation or the walls out there. They didn't care nothing about that. They was like, man, if you can't do one of these on the wall, then you weak.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I looked up to them kind of people, so I wanted to be somebody. So the next thing for me to do was to elevate myself to perfect my skills at this. So that's how I became good at an early age. Yeah.
Okay. Well, is there anything else you want to tell us about yourself? And
Yeah, business. I'll talk about the business. I got
so yeah, is there anything that you want to tell us about yourself? Anything more?
business. Yeah. Damn, I put eucalyptus on. Okay. Okay, business, man. What made me get into business? With art. Because art is supposed to be fun. Art is mostly done as a hobby. A lot of people been told that you can't make a living from your art. A lot of people been told that anybody that's an artist is going to always remain a starving artist. Artist is always broken, poor, which ain't always the case. They said, or if you're going to be an artist and make money, you ain't going to make a lot of money until you're dead. A lot of those are slightly true. Slightly true. Now, I say this. Me growing up, my dad always taught me, he said, man, I'm not finna give you no handout. We're not going to spoil you. Whatever you want right here, you going to work for it. He telling me this as a youngster. Damn, Dad, why I gotta work? He said, man, cause he said, you ain't go. He said, whatever I wanted. He said, my dad didn't give me whatever I wanted. He said, I had to work for mine. He said, you gonna work for yours. Okay. And if somehow, man, I took that state of mind on like work. But work in a special kind of way. This is how I started to grow into working.
Mm-hmm.
My mom and my dad was working class people. They didn't just give us whatever we wanted. They made us work for ours. 9 years old, I was at school, 3rd grade. We used to have this cookie sale every week. 2 days out of the week, they would bake these big cookies at the school library. Oh, chocolate chip, damn. Motherfuckers is good, boy. I can taste it now. I feel like going to go buy some. Anyway, they was baking them cookies. And all the kids that had money would always bring money to school to go buy the cookies for a quarter. Now, back then, a quarter to us was special. It's crazy, man, because my mom would not give me no money to buy them damn cookies. She said maybe every blue moon she will just to give us a treat. But she was like, I don't want y'all eating all the sugar. Damn. I said, well, how am I going to get the cookies? She said, you can't have no cookies. So, to make a long story short with the cookie story, this is how I ended up being in business for myself at an early age. I had to find a way to buy them cookies, man. So what I do, some people like what I was doing as an artist as a kid. They say, hey, can you draw my name for me? I like that. I'll draw it. You give me a quarter. They said, I'll give you a quarter here. The other kids, I'll give you a quarter here. Man, okay, bam, bam, bam. By the time I looked up, I had 4 quarters. I had $1 worth of quarters. I made me $1. I was 9 years old. I'll start buying cookies. My mom never knew I was eating them cookies, but I was a hustler, right? Bam.
Right off the bat.
I was a youngster boy getting paper. So I was like, okay, I can make me some money. Man, I started doing that, and I started finding ways of making a little money if I can. I was always, hey, can I help you do this? Can I wash your car for you? My uncles and stuff. They said, yeah, I'll give you a quarter. Wash my car, help me. I said, okay, and I started getting my money like that. That was my inspiration to making money as a young kid. I had a regular job as a young kid for a short period of time. I was underage and wasn't supposed to be working. We got work permits back then.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't supposed to be working. I had to resign. And then I had this one job where I was being a stock clerk at the mall. And I was still young. I was 14 years old. I was young. And I wasn't supposed to be working. Again. The only reason I got the job was because the young lady who was working there, she was impressed with how I carried myself as a young teen. So she gave me the job. Nevertheless, to say, I ended up losing that job because of the people was acting prejudiced and funny. Boom. That part right there turned the tables for me. Because that was the turning point in my life as a teen. I said, man, you know what? I don't need to go through that. Mm-hmm. I got skills as an artist. Mm-hmm. If my buddies was making money on a small scale, I could do what they doing. So what did I do? I put together a folder, threw my artwork in it. I was a very shy person, real talk. I was shy. because I'm small and I felt like how people gonna perceive me. And anyway, I went out there and I started to go from door to door, knocking on people's door, businesses.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people said no to me. They were like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "Can I paint your wall?" They're like, "No," and they close the door. Some people slammed the door in my face.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Damn." I had to deal with that. I wasn't afraid of rejection. I don't know. I was. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little bit, but something still kept pushing me to keep pushing, and I kept pushing. Next thing you know, somebody said yes. There was a burger stand on Crenshaw and 60th. I remember. The dude was like, "What you gonna paint on my wall?" I said, "I'm gonna do the word burgers." How much you gonna charge me? I'm like, $100. I was scared to even say that. I'm like, damn, is he gonna say no? You know, he gonna think I'm a kid asking for $100. He said 100. I was like, oh shit, I said the wrong thing. I said, yeah, 100. He said, come back tomorrow and I'll give you an answer and I'll tell you yes or no. I followed back up. Like, can I do it? He said, yeah. Do the wall and I'll give you the 100. When I did the wall and got my 100, me and my partner, I actually got that on videotape. I'm gonna let you watch it.
Okay.
Yeah, I got that on videotape. And homeboy paid me $100. $100 for being in school as a kid, that was a lot.
Yeah.
Didn't have to pay no bills. All I had to do was have fun with the money. Man, I had a ball, man.
So it's safe to say you never really had an actual 9-to-5 job.
Yeah, I have. I worked for UPS at one point in my life for 5 years.
Okay.
I had worked for UPS for 5 years. I worked in the LA Unified School District for 5 years. So I'm that kind of dude that I work for longevity. My only thing is I like freedom. I like to be able to wake up when I want to wake up.
Yeah.
I like to be able to move through the city like I want to move through the city. I'm not that kind of person that I can go to a 9-to-5. It's not like I'm too proud not to, because if I have to, I will. But if I know I got the ability to walk into a place, speak correctly, present my artwork strong, I can do anything I want to do, real talk, because I've done it before. That's what gets into my brain and my spirit, because I've done it. I've actually went into places, sat with them, and talked to them about what I could do, what I want to do, what they need done, and how they should get it done. They bought into it. They were like, you know what, we're going to pay you this amount of dollars. When I first told a person $3,000 for the first time, that was scary. They said, how much? I said, $3,000. Well, actually, I'm going to keep it real. I said, $7,000. They said, we can't give you $7,000. Okay, let's talk. Then I started negotiating and shit. They said, we give you $3,000. Let's do that. I walked out of there. That built up my confidence. Because then I'm like, damn. They gave me $3,000. You know, I'm in my 20s. I'm like, okay, I got something going. Went to another location. I wasn't afraid. They had a big old wall. They said, how much you gonna charge me? What, $300-400? I said, man, $3,000. They said, okay, no problem, $3,000.
Yeah.
$3,000. I'm still young at that time. I'm in my 20s. I'm like, oh, okay. Interesting. If I could do this 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, I could do this more time. Make my attitude better. Be more persistent and get my little ass out there and go hard.
I mean, isn't that the keys to success, is being persistent, you know, not taking no for an answer, consistency? Isn't that like the keys to success?
Oh yeah, it is. It is. Because not only I learned, because I did other businesses too, like network marketing. I did some of that. A lot of people look at that as a bad thing. I don't look at it as a bad thing. It wasn't illegal. Everything was legit. It was legal. But guess what? By me going to those business seminars, yeah, it might have been about what their company was about, but the basic principles and fundamentals of business was there to teach me. Never take no for an answer. No eventually gonna turn into a yes. But I mean, don't push it too hard, because after a while, people gonna shut the door.
I mean, there's numbers. I've done the
Yeah.
canvassing and, you know, door to door. So I mean, it's all about the numbers and the statistics. You know, there's so many no's to get to that one yes.
Oh yeah.
You know.
That's right.
I don't
That's
know the
true.
specific numbers, but It's all about numbers.
It ain't nothing ever guaranteed. You know, there's gonna be its dry time, and when it's dry for me, like I don't have it always going on. I gotta make it going on though. I have to create opportunities for myself. So that's one thing I'm working on right now with this young lady that has an art site. Okay, that's one way. So when it's pouring down rain, what do? I can't go out there and paint. So what's next? Merchandise. Put my artwork on shirts. Do custom artwork for people. Make posters and prints of my work to sell online. See, these are the different ways that I have to put myself out there as an artist to survive for survival. Go teach workshops. Be a tutor for somebody in the art world that don't know how to work the art programs on their computer. You know, because every day there's somebody who said, you know what, I want to be an artist. I want to take an art class. Okay, you come to me. I'll teach you one-on-one. I'll charge you whatever amount of dollars per hour. I make my money that way. You know? And I've done it before, and I've been successful at it to a certain level. You know?
So do you also do any, like, speaking, going to different schools and stuff like that?
Lectures. That's another business for me, is to go around and do lectures. I have many different lectures that I do. One about my life story as a graffiti artist. Because everybody I speak to is not an artist, so I have to always remember, everybody not into this. So I tell people in the beginning of my lecture sometimes, if you're not an artist, don't worry about it, it's all good. I said, but take my story as a motivation to get you to where you want to go, and put yourself in my shoes to a certain level, and whatever it is that you want to do, pretend that you looking at your vision through my eyes to help you to want to get to where you need to be slightly.
Gotcha.
Because everybody on different levels. Everybody don't have that inspiration in them. I come from a good background of two good parents. We wasn't wealthy. You know what I'm saying? My parents were working. My mom is a hairstylist. My dad is just a working class man. So they always taught to work. Go to school, get an education. Your parents raised you up 50% of the way. The other half growing up in the streets, slightly, not like that in the streets, but I grew up, keep it real, in South Central LA in the hood. So we learned street tactics. You learn street methods in a good way. So back then, the terminology for us, you know, hustlers. Okay, man, good or bad. You know, you had some people who did bad hustling. You had some people who did good hustling. But not to hustle people out of their money in a bad way, but hustle in the sense of getting out there and going hard to do what you need to do for survival. And that's what we did. And so I learned those kind of methods in a good kind of way to apply to my business. You know, because that's what we did. The music I listened to as a youngster growing up had that kind of lyrics to it. That's what it was all about. So that's what keeps me on my toes to this day. You know, I listen to that kind of music. I motivate. I keep myself motivated on them kind of levels.
Okay. All right.
You know, I'm very grateful and thankful and proud, and I give the glory back to God, because a lot of times people think they're doing a lot of this on their own. I keep it real. I ain't saying this just for the interview. I keep this stuff 1,000. I say it like this because, yeah, there was once upon a time where I got a little bit beside myself, thinking like, yeah, man, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Real talk. God blessed me with talent, and He put me around people that's talented to help keep that flame spark. Good or bad, those people brought me to the level where I'm at. God set me in certain situations so that I will grow, seeing the contrast of good and bad to weigh things out so that I'll know where I need to be. Now I say this, as an adult, I survive off my art. I don't have no 9 to 5. Now watch this. I have to be able to survive. I gotta eat, I pay rent, and I like to have fun and go out and do what I like to do. The task is, how would you keep your money coming to flow, to maintain, do what you do? I give the praise and the glory back to God, because He done did so much to open up so many doors. where when you think it's dry and everything is not happening for you at that time, and he opens up a door and make an opportunity for you through a chain link of events that happen that cause a domino effect, and it's through not my timing but through his timing.
Exactly.
Because if it was on my time, I would be like, man, I need it now, right now. You know, but it don't happen right now. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I am wanting somebody to happen right now. But it ain't for me to have it right now for whatever reason. Now, when it do pop up, I guarantee you he sent it at the right time. Because I realized, and this is how I know it's him. I know it's God. It's because at the time when I wanted it, I couldn't get it. And all of a sudden, when it was time for me to get it, when the timing was right. Why? It's because he wanted me to see that it ain't me. It's him. But, and I say but for a reason, it's him. It's God. But what he did was set things in motion for me to see, so that I would understand that it's bigger than me that's going on right now. It's bigger than me. So I have to be careful of what I say, what I do. A lot of kids say, hey, Cre8, why you don't write your name out there on the street no more? Why you not out there, like, just getting up everywhere? I can't, man. I'm a grown man with responsibilities. I say I can't be behind bars, and what good would I do to my daughter? What good would I be to society? I ain't like I care about everybody like that out there, but I mean, I work with a lot of people, so I serve a purpose. People hold me responsible and accountable for a lot of things out here, you know, on a massive level. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not just an individual. I am, but I'm also a team player amongst my different teams of people that I work with, such as yourself. You know, so I have to be, I got to take care of my health. I got to be able to keep a good state of mind. I got to always stay motivated. How do I keep myself motivated? Survival. I like a certain lifestyle. I like to be happy. I like to travel. I like to see new things. I like to meet new people. So I always got to be going to different events. I got to go out there and shake hands, rub elbows. I got to always find out where's the next event going on. Okay, let me go over here.
Yeah, because Los Angeles, you have to be on it. It's fast moving pace. Like, if you're not out there, what's the point?
Yeah, and you can't be anti-so. Well, I'm a little bit where I'm like reserved a little bit.
Well, I can.
You like that too?
I'm like that as well.
Yeah, but you know what? Watch this. Here's what I learned. And this is what I teach all the kids when I go speak to them. Come out of your box. Get out of your shell. Be able to talk to many races of people from all backgrounds. No matter what their status is financially, it don't matter. I don't care if they poor. You can listen to, quote-unquote, a bum on the street because they might have wisdom. They might be in a bad situation. I don't know how they got there. That's not none of my business unless they want to tell me. But even though they're in that situation, they might say, you know what, young man? I see something in you. You could da-da-da-da-da-da. You might be like, man, what? Because we looking at them like, how you going to tell me something? Look at you. But then, because they might not want me to go down the wrong route, they might tell me something that might stick with me. Like, you know what? That dude made a lot of sense. I looked at him from the outside, but didn't see what was on the inside. That's how deep it is. That's deep, man.
Definitely. I had someone tell me to, being out here in LA, you never know who you're talking to, and to not let the outward appearance, get in the way of how you think about someone here.
Right. Don't judge a book by its cover.
Exactly. I met someone on the bus, and I thought they were homeless, and they teach music on Santa Monica, so you never know, right?
See what I'm saying? Ain't that something? Ain't that something, man? Real talk. There's people, I kid you not, they see me, I don't know how they perceive me, but I think they be like, like, who's this dude? Like, they looking at me sort of like on some other level. Like, is he a hoodlum? Is he a little thug? Like, and I be saying to myself, they just don't know. In a humble way, I say that. Cause I ain't saying I'm everything. I'm all that. Cause I'm not. Cause the same way you could be somebody today, you might not be that person tomorrow.
Exactly.
Cause there's always new talent and people coming up on the daily.
Circumstances.
So stay humble. I always reinforce that. Stay humble. Do not get beside yourself. Stay humble, but keep reinventing yourself in a good way. Keep elevating. Boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? Be careful. They said, this is what I learned. You hang around 5 losers, you bound to be the 6th loser.
Mm-hmm.
You hang around 6 winners, you bound to be the 7th winner.
Yeah.
It's deep. Whatever company you keep around you, you slightly become those people. So we have to learn not to. I ain't gonna front. You know, I hang around a variety of different people, but we gotta understand where to draw the line.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't draw that line, then you get swept into their vortex of their lifestyle and their ways of getting down. Then you be like, man, this shit is stupid.
Right.
Like, I know people that all they do is complain all day, every day.
Don't do anything about it.
And they got excuses up there where they be like, oh man, I couldn't do this, couldn't do that, but I be, hey man, shut that shit up, man. Look, I said, check this out, man. I don't want to hear that, dude. Like, I don't mind listening for a second, but you got the power to a certain level.
Mm-hmm.
I said the key word, to a certain level, you got the power. There's no excuses. You got a brain, 2 hands, 10 fingers, 10 toes, 2 feet. Get your ass up and get out there and go make something happen. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell you, man. Well, maybe you need to get down with the winning team and until you soak a lot of that game up and get out there and make it
Figure
happen.
it out.
Simple.
Yep.
Figure that shit out like a 1,000-piece puzzle, and then you could get to that next level.
For sure. Well, it's been an honor sitting here talking with you. And again, how can people find you online? You said Facebook and Instagram.
They can find me on Instagram under Cre8 Artistic Services, and when I spell create, it's CRE with the number 8. Artistic Services on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
They can find me on Facebook under King Cre8, King, CRE with the number 8. Same thing on Twitter. You can find me the same way on there. You can find me on Mars, Moon, Pluto.
You be everywhere, huh? All right. Well, appreciate it. This is Antoinette AO with One West Magazine, and we're out. Appreciate it, guys.
Peace out.